Hey everybody, welcome back to the Bestiary Boys, where we do deep dives into bestiaries and monster manuals. And what are we talking about today, Joey?
Today we're talking about the Beetlekin.
The Beetlekin. And we begin always with a fantastic quote, and it goes like this. Demonic vermin, that's what they are. Fleas from some ancient demon prince's neck hair. Okay, the shells of Beetlekin would probably make good shields, but other than that, vermin. So this is from Trout Thornman or Magnate, who is very passionate about this. He's very disgusted, it seems, by these Beetlekin, but he appreciates the shells at least. So we have here a Beetlekin, of course, standing there menacingly with his massive one, almost like crab-like claw. Yeah. The other one has three little pincers on it. So he's I don't know if he's digging a hole or getting ready to lob that rock at us, but he's got a massive carapace on his back and kind of a svelte thorax. Yeah, in the middle he's kind of got this nice V-taper going on. He's built, and then he's got these backward jointed kind of legs with three little spines, which I don't know, I kind of feel like I would have made him 2, not 3, but that's just me. Kind of feels more like a little more like a chicken or a lizard or something.
Yeah, I would have done 2 as well.
Yeah, but really cool artwork by David Brascala.
That is cool. It's not as cool as the Gartham.
Oh yeah, not quite that cool. Those are
they are really cool, and they're scary. Like when I was a little kid, those were scary as hell. I was like, oh my god, that thing's gonna get me.
It was such a creative way to design a costume because there's a person in there.
Right,
and they hid the person's legs with just like random hangy beetle legs and stuff, and but then because there was an actual person walking around in there, they're just very giant, scary things. They weren't like little puppets; they were these massive things walking around.
The way their bodies animated was really well. Than just like it was much better to have one person moving around in it than trying to have 2 people move each arm and stuff like that.
Yeah, nobody did it like Jim Henson, man.
No.
Okay, so on to what these things are. Those who venture underground in search of gold and other riches may have the misfortune of ending up in a beetle hole. These dug, carved-out burrows are home to the Beetlekin, enigmatic creatures as big as humans and armored as knights. So this is one thing that was different for me. We remember the ant people were smaller, like halfling size or mallard size, whereas these are human sized, as noted in the little stat block. So this gives me a different perspective on these insectoids versus the other ones. I guess we'll have to find out how big the spider people are. The digging burrows and tunnels are the main cause of conflict. So it notes here that they often come into conflict with dwarven miners. They're also formidable warriors, as demonstrated when the group we were following suddenly burrowed their way into a small gnome mine. But as far as I can tell, again, this is the chronicler speaking, not me. They prefer not to fight. Cool dynamic. It's noted here that they can also be found above ground, acting as exotic guards and things like that. So even though these things look badass, they're armored from head to toe, they're human-sized, they don't like to fight. They're not into fighting.
Yeah.
So that was kind of a big surprise for me. But moving on to fighting, Joey, why don't we take a look at the stat block?
All right, so they each have a ferocity of 1, so they're going once per turn. As we discussed earlier, their size is normal. They have a movement of 12, armor of 6, so they got good armor.
Was that basilisk armor? I can't remember. Maybe Basilisk had even more armor. I remember being surprised by the armor.
It was 6 or 7 for Basilisk, too. Yeah. I think it was 6. But they don't have a whole lot of hit points. Only 18. And they have Digger. The digging ability of the Beetlekin means that they are always counted as having a shovel, which halves the time spent digging. One thing about Dragonbane that I think could use a little work, so this is a constructive criticism for the game, is it would be nice if they kind of explained how things work a little better in areas. So like for me personally, this is the first time I'm hearing about like a digging speed, or how much time does it take normally? Does it take more time normally? Is it half of what's normally longer to dig, or is it half of their normal movement? It doesn't really specify.
It doesn't. And I'll admit I haven't looked at the shovel item to see, maybe mechanically it is listed in the gear. So
it probably is.
If you guys out there know the digging rules, let us know in the comments down below.
Yeah. I think it would have helped to maybe have in parentheses what the shovels rules were right under Digger.
Oh yeah, 100%.
So you don't have to reference another book. For the D6 attack, we have Clobbering Blow. It's basically slamming you with a rock hard claw, and you suffer D10 bludgeoning damage, which is a good bit. And it has, for number 2, the Double Strike. It hits you with both claws, and somehow getting hit by 2 claws could potentially do less damage per die. It's only a D8 slashing. Maybe there's like one good rock hard claw and the rest are just normal claws. So they. Well,
I think if you think about it, like when you're, one big claw, he's got one nasty claw and the other one's not so great. I think what it is that when you're attacking twice, you're going to be less effective. It's kind of like when you're attacking with 2 swords or something.
Yeah.
You know, in a way where there needs to be some kind of bane in quotes to it. So it's not like, oh, you're just doubling a D10. Mm-hmm. That's probably what that means.
And actually, I just scrolled down to look at the art, which we're about to look at after this. And he does have one big claw and one normal claw. So maybe it does make sense. He's got a bite attack with his strong mandibles. The bite inflicts 2d6 damage and is injected with a paralyzing poison, potency 9. A lot of creatures in here have paralyzing abilities. Mm-hmm. So far,
I think because what I found is when people get poisoned in Dragonbane, it's really like it's kind of more of an annoyance than anything else. Yeah, it disrupts the game loop, if you want to call it that, where it's like now wherever you are, you got to go back to some town to get healed. It's just kind of like I don't know. And to me, it's more interesting when it's a temporary effect versus something that you got to go get fixed.
Yeah, definitely. We have a surprise kick. Beetlekin suddenly delivers a hard kick to an opponent who is pushed D6 meters away and suffers an equal amount of bludgeoning damage. The victim is also knocked prone.
I only picture this as a drop kick for some reason. I picture I picture the Beetlekin doing a WWE drop kick.
That would be pretty sweet to see. We have an acid spit. The creature spits a glob of corrosive poison at an opponent within 10 meters, inflicting D8 damage. Armor has no effect. So that could be pretty bad even if you're a frontline armored guy.
Yeah, I think honestly, this acid spit or attacks like that are really important because you want to mitigate characters from just being completely covered in armor and almost invincible. And I think that's one thing I really love about these random monster attacks is it gives you such a big variety of stuff. And it's random. It's not like you're picking from a list. You could, but I like the idea of absolving the GM of that brain. That they already have a lot of stuff going on in their mind and to have to pick something. So I enjoy that.
And last but not least, we have the Shattering Shriek. The Beetlekin lets out a shriek so high-pitched it becomes inaudible. All victims within 10 meters become dazed and must make a will roll to resist fear. So the Beetlekin has a pretty decent arsenal. It does it's constantly doing damage except for 2 attacks. So you got 4 chances of just getting damage out every time, which is not terrible for you. Some creatures I've run in this game and like it has like maybe 2 or just 3 attacks that actually do damage. So half the time I'm rolling randomly and just doing nothing. And a lot of times it'll be, I won't do anything like at all because they aren't within the right distance of me. And my movement is not enough to catch up with them. And I am blurred out, but that's fine. People don't need to see me.
That's interesting because I'm trying to think of an encounter where I've been in a situation where actual distance it matters. I feel like all the encounters I've run on battle maps, like people are generally not that far away, but I don't know.
Yeah. The pre-written adventures. And then, I think I might need to take a note from that because like I tend to make really big battlefield, like bigger areas to fight in because I don't want people to feel like they don't have any options but to just attack. Like I like when people take cover behind logs or they they go around this way because they know there's some quicksand here that the monsters might not notice, stuff like that.
Yeah, I guess in that case, you'd need to create other attacks or have little minions or something like that to where it's not just, hey, let's just keep our distance and focus fire or something like that.
Yeah. But Jason, how do they tell us to use the Beetlekin?
So
tight spaces?
Yeah, kind of how you might expect. So the first thing is the random encounter, and it begins as a barely noticeable subsidence, which is a weird ass word to describe sort of a, I guess like a dip in the ground. But anyway, it is what it is. So you must make a successful spot hidden to roll to notice it in time to warn others before the ground itself gives way. In an area 10 meters in diameter, everybody in the affected area must make an evade roll to avoid it. Those who fail are plummeting down into the newly dug egg chamber. And so we know what happens after that because they want to protect the babies. And the Beetlekin rush in to protect their family's future, as noted here. So kind of a cool, expected little encounter, I guess. And it's, again, mechanics are attached to it. So you can not just hand wave it away. You can have this be a little encounter along but then moving on to the adventure seed. So this is when a group of dwarven miners, they approach the players because they have dug deep in search of iron and silver, but now their mine, they think, is haunted anyway. But it's not haunted. It is actually Beetlekin who are killing the dwarves in there because they are infiltrating their domain, I guess. Yeah, it says here that the Beetlekin whose homes are threatened by the dwarves, so they are trying to eliminate the threat by picking off the miners one by one. But then also it's noted here that the Beetlekin can be convinced, which we actually did not get any description whatsoever in this monster manual entry of how do they communicate. Right. So we know the ants are telepathic. They have to like do sign language and stuff to communicate to other kin outside of their own, but I'm not sure how the beetles do. I'm guessing they don't speak a language that anybody can understand, so maybe it's another sign language kind of scenario.
I would probably, going back to the reference even from the ant people, I would think they communicate like they have like that a weird sounding language like the prawns from District 9.
Yeah. That's
how I would describe it. And I like, though, this adventure scene, it's like the dwarves dug too deep and people are going missing, so it must be haunted. It's one of my favorite tropes, and not just in fantasy, but even in real life. Like you think, a couple hundred years ago when people didn't know that hydrogen sulfide was a thing coming out of the swamp or bog, so they were just like, the swamp is haunted because if you go in there, you get possessed by demons and die, and really you're just breathing in this toxic, flammable gas.
If I were to add a little bit to this adventure seed, it would be some kind of cue as to why the dwarves think it's haunted.
Right.
Maybe they uncovered some ancient artifact that they're fighting over, that may or may not have spiritual, I don't know, something. Or maybe it's a gate to somewhere, just like we learned that it's hypothesized anyway that all these insectoids are coming from another dimension, I guess. So I would add a little bit more in there to flesh it out because, it's weird how they automatically think ghosts.
Yeah.
without any kind of experience other than, oh, my buddies are disappearing.
Gone. Yeah. It could have been he got caved in on. It could have been he went through the ground and is trapped somewhere. Nah, it was a ghost for sure. What else could it be in a mine?
Well, that is how Free League has given us some ideas to run these around our table. Right. Joey, how do you think you might run these Beetlekin?
Two things. One way I would want to use the Beetlekin is I would actually pair them up with the mummy creature. So if I made like a campaign that revolved around the mummy, I would definitely use Beetlekin and that because, scare beetles and all that.
I see.
I think the other thing I would do with these insectoids in general is I would probably make a bunch of variations. So I would probably so for the beetle, it's like acid spit and shattering shriek are kind of like the two main things really unique to it. So I might make a rhinoceros beetle variation, and instead of acid spit and shattering shriek, it has like a flight mode. It can fly, and then it would have a goring attack of some kind that's really brutal, does 3d10 damage or something. And then I might have a jeweled scarab beetlekin. So if you kill it, you can remove its shell and it's worth a lot, or it has magical properties, stuff like that. Maybe the jewel beetlekin absorbs magic. Magic doesn't hurt it. If you use a spell on it, it just increases its willpower by like a couple points.
Nice.
And it has magic abilities. Yeah, I would make lots of variations of Beetlekin, and with ant people, I'd make fire ants, carpenter ant people. I'd make those ants that have like the really long mandibles that are like, I'd make a version of them. I would just have fun doing that. And then eventually when we get to Spiderkins, there's tons of stuff you could do with that.
Yeah.
So, but that's what I would do with them.
I think I've always loved the idea of poltergeist, where you have somebody on the surface encroaching on something that is potentially powerful or spiritual or ghostly or ethereal or something like that. So I imagine like maybe there's a settlement built on top of like a sacred beetle ground, because the Beetlekin are all underground.
Right.
Maybe the beetles are protecting something down there, or maybe again, the typical trope where the Beetlekin stumble upon something and maybe it's warping the Beetlekin into something else.
Yeah.
And slowly over time, like it's causing sinkholes, or who knows, maybe Beetlekin are climbing up and taking people. But I guess the short answer is I'd make kind of maybe a possessed Beetlekin, where it stumbles upon some ancient artifact that's below a city or a settlement or something, and have like the upper and lower grounds kind of battle it out. That might be kind of a fun dynamic. Okay, well, I don't think we have any artwork or any other content to show this week, but if we do get it, you guys know I will cut it in.
Yeah.
All right, well, I guess that brings us to the end of Beetlekin. Is there anything else you wanted to chat about? I think you had something you wanted to talk about from last week.
The cheesy, big bad Beetleborgs?
Yeah, which I looked up.
Did you look it up?
I did.
It's awful, isn't it?
It's pretty terrible, but it's pretty awesome at the same time.
Yeah. So I remember that came out in 96. The funny story about it, just in general, is that the show itself made me have conscious awareness of beetles. So when that show came out, and I'm like, this show's terrible, but beetles look kind of neat. I did go on like this big, I got to learn about beetles type of thing. The show was bad, and I don't recommend it. It's not even good for a Power Rangers, rip-off / spinoff. But beetles are really cool. Do research, learn about them. And, if you notice a subsidence somewhere outside, could be beetle.
Subsidence, yeah. I don't think I've ever used that word in the entirety of my life.
Well, we're using it now.
Now we're using it now. Thanks, Free League. It makes me wonder if that was, translating Swedish to English, and they're like, oh, here's a cool word.
I think so, because it's literally just an indentation in the ground. So
exactly. It's just it's a funny word that I've never used.
I want to Google it real quick. The gradual caving in or sinking of an area of land. Yeah, it's not wrong. It's just
no,
weird.
It's not wrong. It's just like a subsidence. Okay.
Subsidence. This game will make you smarter.
Yeah, it will. Use the dictionary, unless you already have a great vocabulary, unlike me. Uh-huh. Cool. Well, I guess that brings us to the end of Beetlekin. So what are we talking about next week?
We are going to be talking about, our first demon, the Blood Demon.
Blood Demon. So we are moving up the ranks. We started with dragons, then dipped down to the insectoids, and now we're going right back up to the big baddies. Next week, Blood Demons. Thanks for hanging out with us, guys, and we will see you next week.